Hello everyone, welcome back to the Spicy Bookish Podcast with me, Nikita.
And me, Tia.
Also known as Ginger and Spice.
Yeah, baby.
So if you're watching on video, I just want to point out, I'm holding my mic and I'm actually waving it around and I don't even know if that affects the audio or not.
No,
and I'm holding it because the stand is broken. And I feel hella awkward. Like, I don't know how to hold this. How does one hold...
Well, not like that. Why have you
I don't
it like
know.
you're holding a wine glass?
See, now, when I hold it like that, it feels very sexual.
Is it?
When I hold it with
But
a full
you've
fist.
Made it sexual, is
have.
what you've done there.
So now I don't know.
No one would have known.
I don't know how to hold it now.
In fact, there's probably only a few people that are watching this, so you could have got away with holding it like that.
I probably could have got away with not saying anything at all, actually.
And now, all I can think about is what else you could have been holding.
Yeah.
And I hope you all are too. Anyway.
I feel really weird. That was the short of the long story. Wait. That was short story long. No.
The long of the short.
That was... Wait.
Of it. The long of the short of it.
That was the long and short of it. Anyway, short story long. No. Anyway,
God.
long story short.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Bloody hell.
We have already had a wine. Whoa.
Whoa.
Oh, God.
We've got this whole podcast to go.
Also, I deleted the whole studio earlier. That's fine. I've been here for 4 hours. I've been here for 4 hours.
Not this studio that we're sitting in.
I didn't burn this down. But I came in, just fucked a load of shit up, had a wine, and now 4 hours later, here we are.
I fixed it with Paul from Riverside.
You literally picked him up big time as well, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
he deserved
God.
it because he really saved us there.
Proper giving him some love.
Yeah, he deserved it. Because I'm sure they're probably... Because they are, sorry, Riverside, if you're listening, but you are a piece of shit. And most of the time, like 99% of the time,
I agree.
it's crap.
Yeah.
So on that one occasion where you actually make...
A difference
in
life.
And you get something positive from them, it feels like a fucking miracle. So I was like... He was like, oh, I've restored your studio. He was like, oh, it appears your studio has been deleted. I had avoided saying that to him. Because I was like, if I straight off the bat go, look, I think we might have deleted our studio. So by the way, just for context, if you delete the studio, you delete all of your projects, which means you delete all of your previous recordings, and then you have to create a new studio to create new recordings, etc.
Yeah.
So by Tia accidentally delete the studio, she deleted everything we'd ever recorded, plus all the pod snippets I spent 2 hours editing earlier today. Anyway, Paul was like, oh yeah, I've reinstated it. Because I was like, well, if I just say straight off the bat, look, I think it might have been deleted. Sometimes they're a bit like, oh, well, it can't be restored. And they don't even look.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're just like, oh, no, it can't be restored. That's the end of it. I thought, well, if I just don't say anything and make him think it's their problem. Because I was like, oh, look, we were having trouble connecting, which we were. We were having trouble connecting with our phones and then just all of a sudden disappeared.
To be fair, it was an actual issue with Riverside that I just then...
Made a million times worse.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's
I
fine.
did,
It's
yeah.
fixed now, and here we are.
Yeah.
We should have been finishing now, really, rather than just starting. But such is life. Such is life.
One must carry on.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's just really not going well, actually, is it? I was just thinking, well, first of all, your phone's not on charge.
Oh, yeah. That's easily rectified. It's down here. Oh, I am on, 75%. It's all fine.
Yeah, so that happened. My mic stand is broken. And I knew last week it was broken. And I did nothing to fix it. So that's my problem, really. You know what I mean? But, I've had 1.5 wines and I'm feeling fine.
Do you know what? It does help.
Yeah, it really
It
does.
definitely does, doesn't it? Just to get through, really.
Do you know what's funny is that, in moments of where it's, extreme distress, so when something is, really serious, I go, 180 the opposite way in regards to, level of calm and panic. But, when it's something, really, if it's something, relatively minor, my fight or flight kicks in to some degree and I freak out. Do you know what I mean? That's when I have a more extreme reaction. I'm like, oh, fuck. Oh, my God. But when it's, super serious, I'm like immediately calm.
Yeah.
And my body, and I don't know if it's like, I wonder if it's like a coping mechanism.
Oh, maybe.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it was just like earlier, I was like, oh, the whole thing's been deleted. And I was like, I understood it was like really bad, but my body just went, it's fine.
But it was. We're still in.
But it's fine.
Yeah.
And I was like totally calm.
You've got to just look at the bright side of life, haven't you? Always look on the bright side of life.
I don't know that song.
What's
that?
Don't you?
No? Who sings
Oh
that?
my God. What an absolute tune.
Who sings it?
Always look on the bright... Don't know. I think it's out of a musical. Is it? Always look on... I don't know.
It sounds like some kind, like it sounds like it'd be on the West End. It sounds like almost like Oliver Twist-esque. Always look on the bright side of life. You know what I mean?
That was really good.
Oh, thank you. Anyway, that's not what we're here for. I know someone actually said to us the other day that they like our, wait, what did they call it? Preamble ramble.
Oh, that's nice.
They called it.
We've got to do this. Although we've been doing this for the past 3 hours. We've been rambling.
We've been having an unrecorded preamble ramble for 3 hours
just
now.
to get through.
Some days we're like really productive and just get it all done, smash it out. And then other days we just fuck about.
I know, I don't really know what happens, to be honest.
I don't get it. Anyway, we're here now recording this.
Do you know what I'm not looking forward to in this?
What?
The tears.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so on that note, on that bombshell, that was a Jeremy Clarkson reference, just in case anyone didn't get it from like America and stuff.
Yeah, nice.
So on that note, this is our emotionally devastating podcast. And we did ask a couple of weeks ago for people to, on social media, for people to send in recommendations of like emotionally devastating books. And actually, I think what I did personally, I just picked the ones that I've kind of been wanting to read for a while, but just never have, and probably wouldn't have gotten round to otherwise, to be honest. So popular kind of ones. And they were ones that were actually in the recommendations video in the comments as well, quite often, to be fair. But I didn't actually end up going into the comments and hand picking like an extra book from there for this podcast specifically. I think I just had loads. Although I will say I did add in the Liv Zander Heartstrings duet last minute, and really I probably could have gone back and picked a book from that video, from the comments, but because that's like doing the rounds on social media at the minute, I was like, oh, fuck it. Yeah. Actually, I'm going to read that because I've seen everyone crying and saying it was beautiful, so I thought, fuck it. I know I'm going to cry. Like, I know it's going to be devastating, so let's just do it. Yeah, and I don't know about you. Did you just pick ones from your TBR? Did you pick any from the comments?
So, one of mine was in my 12 for 12, and I already knew that people were crying about it, so I was like, sold. The other one was actually in the comments a lot, and that had also been on my TBR for ages, and I've been wanging on about you know which one for so fucking long that it's come at a really good time. And then my other one, I did pick out the comments. I can't remember who suggested it, but I think it's new. I think it's only just come out.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah. Yep, indeedy. Tears do be flowing.
Oh, the tears were flowing. So one of my books I didn't actually cry at. I didn't even shed a single tear. I'll obviously talk about it when I get to it, but I actually don't have that much to say about it. So out of all the books I'm going to do today, Still Beating, I'm actually going to rattle through quite quickly because there isn't really much to discuss, especially in the way of like how it emotionally devastated me, because it didn't. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Fair. It was surprising to me that it was this book, because I felt like that was the first one I was supposed to read, and I ended up switching it up, and that it ended up becoming sort of the last one. I started it before the Heartstrings duet, but then I finished it after. So it ended up being the last one, and actually it was the most underwhelming. And I was like, oh, that's me. I didn't expect that. And it's part of a series of like interconnected standalones, and I was expecting to then go on and read the others because people had mentioned about the other ones as well, but I was like, no, I want to start with Still Beating because I know that's the first one. And I'm glad I did. It definitely sets the scene and the tone and sort of background for the next two if I ever did decide to do them, but at the moment I don't think that's I don't think that's something I will do, especially
totally
not anytime soon.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go through the books that we're gonna do. So mine are actually sitting behind me here. If you're watching on video, I do have the Torment Duet. Well, actually, it's called the Bleeding Hearts series, and it is the Torment Duet. So Torment Part 1 and Torment Part 2. I'm trying to show you, but I'm being a bit fucking cat-handed with it there. And I've got the Liv Zander Duet, so the Heartstrings Duet. Why am I being so cat-handed with this?
I don't know, what's wrong with your hands?
I don't know. Cry Me Yours and Cry Me Dead. And then I have Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. So they're the ones I read recently, like as in like the last week. And then the last book that I didn't actually read in the last week, but I read it a few weeks ago, is One Last Rainy Day by Kate Stewart. I'm going to talk about that as well, because fuck me, that was the one I probably cried at the most. I think it's so emotionally devastating because you do have the background to it all from like the Flock series, from the Ravenhood series. And obviously if you've read that, you'll understand. So again, with One Last Rainy Day, there's going to be like not too many things I can say because it's technically a spin-off of the original series, and if I say too much, I'll give away a huge plot line, which basically forms the basis of 1.5 books in that series. So I'll have sort of like minimal to say about that. So I'm probably going to be a bit vague. So to confirm, I've got the Torment Duet by Dylan Page. I've got Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. I've got the Heartstrings Duet by Liv Zander. And I've got One Last Rainy Day by Kate Stewart.
Lovely. And my ones I am going to do Darkness Beyond the Daisies by Cori Zahara.
That is behind you there, and it's a really lovely cover, actually.
So the original cover, because I don't... Or it might be the Kindle cover, in my eyes, is better. I took this on holiday, which is why it looks fucked.
Dishevelled.
Yeah, it's been by the pool. It's had a couple of shandies on it. It's sad. It's gone through a lot. It is huge as well. It's massive. So, Darkness Beyond the Daisies by Cori Zahara. And then I have done Break Me Beautifully by Eneanor Crowe. This actually isn't that long. I smashed through this in a day. Like, I physically couldn't put this book down at all.
Oh, that's good.
Woo! What a story. And then my last one is Wrecked by Bree Mina, which we'll see what I say about it.
Okay, I don't even know where to start. I don't know whether to start with Still Beating and just get it out the way. Like, it wasn't bad, by the way. Like, I did really enjoy it. It was good, and I felt like really immersed in the story, but there was just a lack of connection with their specific love story.
Right.
And I'll explain why. I'm actually going to give you my ratings straight off the bat. I think you do ratings after you've finished talking about the book, don't you? But I think I'm just going to do them straight off the bat. So, Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman, I gave it 4 stars, and I gave it 2.5 chili peppers. It was sort of sporadic. It dropped off the spice, and then came back again, and then it dropped off, and then it came back again, and yeah. I reckon other people's scales of that will probably vary. So it's dark romance, kidnapping, forced proximity, obviously, trauma bonding, sister's fiancé, and on-page suicide. So...
Oh,
and
yeah.
So I would say just really, like, actually read the content warnings. So overall, I did think it was good. It was better than okay, but it wasn't, like, amazing. Like, it didn't blow me away at all. And like I said, it was the only book that I didn't cry at. It was sad, like, and I did get sad. I felt sad for them. I felt sad at the situation for them. But it didn't make me feel sad within myself to the point where my heart was breaking on behalf of them. I don't know if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? There was just some kind of like lack of connection.
I wonder if it's just because this is one of those books where everyone's kind of like, oh, it is sad, so it come up a lot. Like, a lot of people have told us to read this book because it is emotionally damaging. But I wonder if it's because, and a fuck ton of people have read it.
Yeah,
like,
no, yeah.
So many.
I'm glad I've done it now because FOMO obviously was like, oh, I really want to get to it. I really want to get to it. And it's been on my shelf for ages, so I'm glad I've done it. And it was one of my 12 for 12s. But it was just a bit disappointing. I still gave it 4 stars, which is obviously a really good rating because it was so good. And obviously we know her writing style and how good she is.
Yeah.
But it was like a expectation versus reality situation. I was like, oh, that didn't, yeah. And like I said, for me personally, I'm not saying this is for other people, there was a lack of connection with the characters' love story together. And I will explain why in a second, because I do think I know why. Okay, so let's do a rundown of the book. So we've got Dean and we've got Cora. Dean is Cora's sister's fiance, and they have been together for 15 years. And her and Dean, they've always had this kind of like hate banter. So he like teases her, and like they play pranks on each other and stuff like that, and they always have done. But do you know, from the very start, it was very obviously giving like oh, boys only tease you when they like you.
Yeah.
That's what it was giving. Sure. And I was like, well, obviously we know where this is going. Yeah, so they like play pranks on each other and stuff like that. It's just the dynamic that they have and kind of always have had. But as the reader, it's very obvious from the get-go that there is something more brewing, or has been brewing for a long time. So they're all out one night. So it's like Cora and everybody else, they're all out. Dean's there, they're celebrating. I want to say it was her sister's birthday, if I remember rightly, but they're in this bar. Cora and Dean are like sat next to each other, and this weird guy comes over. Like leery, sleazy, massive belly, disgusting. And he's like, oh, are you two together? Blah, blah, blah. And they're like, fuck no, we're not together. I fucking hate him. And he's like, I fucking hate her, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the guy is gone. We move on, and we come to the end of the night, and Cora's bag gets stolen. So she's got no money and no way to get home. So Dean, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, Dean ends up driving her home. And as they're driving home, there's like sirens in the background behind them. So Dean pulls over, and he's like, it's fine, like it'll all be okay. And she's like, you know, obviously because they hate each other, she's like, oh, what have you fucking done now? Blah, 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 blah. And he's like, I was driving the speed limit. I don't think I ran any stop signs. And so they're both like bickering. And then all of a sudden, her passenger side window just smashes. Someone reaches in, grabs her throat. And then it's all panic stations. And she's like, Dean, drive, Dean, drive. And he's obviously panicking, and he doesn't drive. And then the two of them are just like knocked out. And then they wake up chained in a basement, sitting opposite each other on the floor. And from that point is where it gets hella dark. So obviously, if you've read Darkest Descent, like that vibes, but not as bad, obviously. Yeah. So the guy that kidnaps them, he comes down, his name is Earl, and he like forces them to do things together. It does move quite quickly. So the basement situation lasts probably only about 110 pages, but it does move quite quickly, I felt, and probably too quickly. So the guy comes down, he forces them to do bits together, he forces himself on her, and then like Earl, the kidnapper, and Dean then rotate days. Now, sidebar, in the audiobook, I was audioing and reading at the same time. In the audiobook, for whatever reason, loads of sentences were being completely missed out. And one of the big things that was missed out was the rotation of days situation. So in the audiobook, they were just refusing to acknowledge that in the actual book, she had written down that Dean and Earl were rotating days. So it was things like, oh, it's Dean's day. Thank God it's Dean's day. But that was completely removed from the audiobook. Yeah. Any mention of that. There was like situations where like they would be going at it, and there would be a statement like, whilst his cock slid in and out of me, completely removed from the audiobook. And I was like, I don't understand. Like sometimes I can get it because we've read other books that are like hella taboo, and in the audiobook they sort of take out statements that probably maybe push it a little bit too far, and you kind of go, okay, well that makes sense, like I can see why you've taken that out. But there was like 2-3 lines and stuff where they just like removed it, and I was like, I don't understand. So like on my thing we would just like jump 2 lines, and I was like, whoa,
that doesn't make sense.
And then there was other parts in the book, just to go off on a tangent, where they added in whole sentences. And I was like, what am I reading right now? That's not in front of my eyeballs. And it was really weird.
Surely they haven't changed the book, because obviously that's the traditionally published version, isn't it? Because you've got the indie version, but surely they can't change the actual storyline.
It was on Kindle. It was doing it on Kindle. So surely that's the most updated version in there. Anyway, that's what happened with the audio. I did note that down as a thing to mention, because it like once is fine, maybe even twice, but it was often. Yeah. And it was getting to a point where I was like, why are we changing the whole book for?
Yeah, that's fair.
And it was a little bit annoying. So anyway, Earl's like forcing them to do things like with each other, and then he forces himself on her. There is like on-page grape. And then they do manage to escape. I'm not going to say how or what happens, but they do manage to escape. And obviously now that they're out, after 22 days in there, they get out, and they're now trauma bonded. So it's like, well, how do they move forward? Because the very last time that they were together, they felt like a shift, like something changed within them, within the two of them, and she started to actually enjoy herself, whereas previously she had just been enduring it and, you know, was saying to Dean, it's fine, like, you know, obviously this isn't great because I'm giving you my consent, like, you're doing what you've got to do to survive, like, it's fine. Obviously it was awful, but on the last time, she then started to get into the moment and was enjoying it. They don't actually talk about that for a little while, about like what shifted between them. So then they come out and he's now got to go back to his fiance, which is her sister, and it's just all a fucking mess because now they're like, well, now there's something between us and we've crossed a line that can't be uncrossed even if it was forced upon us. And it's basically then just about their whole love story, and they want to come together but they feel like they can't. And she's obviously struggling with the fact that it's her sister's fiance. There's so much, but there's also not much at the same time. I don't know how to describe it. Like, so much happens and goes on, but also at the same time, nothing else apart from that happens, apart from that progression of the love story. Now, it is a happily ever after. I really enjoyed the epilogue. I fucking love me a happily ever after. And it was probably during the epilogue the only time during the book where I was like, actually felt a little bit choked up. And that was because it was such a lovely ending. You know, when you're like, oh, this is really nice. This is really lovely. The reason I gave it 4 stars is, for me personally, because the reason I didn't feel like I connected enough with their love story to believe in it and to feel the pain with them was because I don't feel like we spent long enough on page in the basement. It was 22 days, but I think we got 3 scenes of them together.
No.
And they were very, very quick.
Yeah.
Very basic, very quick. Her hands, I believe, were tied behind her back and she was holding, I think she was tied to like a pole or a pipe or something. So, you know, she couldn't like touch him or whatever. And he was just basically holding her up. And I'm pretty sure it was like that for all 3 scenes. And they were over really quickly. And I was just a bit like, I don't know. I find it hard to believe that something of that magnitude changed from those very small 3 scenes that we got, you know, as a reader. I just think there should have been, I think we should have spent longer in the basement, or there should have been more on-page scenes. They didn't have to be more graphic, there just maybe had to be more. And they're, like, just even things like, it didn't even have to be Spice. Just things like, there was a mention of how they sat opposite each other and their feet nearly touched. And I was like, well, why couldn't we make it so their feet just touched? And it was like a comfort thing that they started touching feet in the night, and it brought them some comfort, like a non-sexy footsie. Do you get what I mean? I just stuff like that would have helped build up that bond between the two of them to make it more believable that they were so insanely enamored, and this bond between them after was completely unbreakable and had to be explored to the point of blowing up their whole lives.
Yeah, that's a bit annoying.
It just wasn't long enough. It was like maybe 110 pages that we spent, and that 110 pages also includes the beginning before we got to the basement.
So that should have been most of the book.
That should have really been like half the book.
Yeah.
In that basement, exploring how they progressed together, how they leaned on each other, the trauma bonding. We spent too much time in the after.
Outside. Yeah.
And it was hella dark after. Like I said, there's on-page suicide, which was just fucking awful. And I do to some degree feel like that was maybe brushed over a little bit too much as well. Like, I really enjoyed her writing, and you do feel it, but I didn't feel this in the way that I wanted to.
Yeah.
So the female narrator was Laurie West, and the male narrator was Christian Black. Now, Christian Black is one of the male narrators in a duet that I've mentioned recently, and that is the Masked Duet by Rhys Rivers. So, Dance, Butterfly, Dance, Butterfly, Dance, and Burn, Butterfly, Burn. And that was a full cast one. And I was like, it didn't even click to me. I wasn't like, oh, I recognise this voice.
Yeah.
Which was weird, because obviously I did that one on audio. I don't have any favourite scenes. It was very difficult to find any joy in the whole book.
I want to read this now, you know.
I'm not going to lie, I don't think you'll like it. No. And I know for a fact you'll read it and think the same as me about how the basement scene should have been longer.
Dragged out. Because we do like us a basement. I'm more than happy
a kidnapping,
to be shut in a fucking basement for a long period of time.
Considering it forms the basis of not just this book, but the following 2 books as well.
Oh, it does.
They're not continuations, but they're all based around this person who was kidnapping people. So
Yeah,
I feel like
that's
we
not
should have
good.
spent more time there.
That if that's the main part of all 3 books, then you have to be more heavily involved with being kidnapped.
So talking about the other books, you've got Lotus, and that is about a guy called Oliver, and he was also a captive, and he was found on the side of the road, naked and covered in blood. And I believe that book is childhood friends to lovers. So I think he gets picked up, and then he goes back home, and then obviously falls in love with some kind of childhood friend. I haven't looked into that too deeply, but I know it is about Oliver, but I think it's friends to lovers. And the next one is The Stars Are on Our Side, and it is about Tabitha, who does actually feature quite heavily towards the end of Still Beating. She was also a survivor, and she managed to get out by tricking the kidnapper Earl into falling in love with her. But in turn, he killed the guy that she was actually in love with and was in there with, Matthew. So basically Earl just like dumped her on the side of the road like miles away, and she never knew, like, she was knocked out. She never knew where the house was. Like, she could do a sketch, but he was never found. But she then had a baby, so hers is like single mum, and I do think that one probably is going to be fucking devastating.
I'm not going to lie, these don't sound like a bit of me. I could easily leave this whole
There is zero joy in them. Like, until I got to the epilogue.
I already feel like I want to cry, and it's not because of anything other than the fact that these sound terrible.
They're sad. They're sad. They're just like really, really sad.
They're obviously really well written, because people do rave about them all the time, and I totally get that. That is spot on. But this doesn't sound like something I want to heavily get involved in. At all. Not even a tiny bit. Okay, I'm going to start with Wrecked by Bree Mina. So as you started with your ratings, I'm going to start with my ratings.
Oh, look at you go.
So I gave this a 4 stars, and I gave it 2.5 shilly papas. Now, I understand why some people are up in arms about this whole book, because there is no one that's sort of in between and is like, it was alright. There's either, nope, don't like it, or yes, fucking loved it. And my understanding of that is that we do go back in the day an awfully large amount. So we've got a story that's progressing, which is like 10 years later, and then we've got back in the day trauma that's sort of ran through the whole thing. But it just runs through a little bit too long for my liking. But I mean, I still had a really good time. Like, I really appreciated the storyline. I appreciated them as characters. I thought it was all right. So let me set the scene. So you're on a sun lounger. You're by the pool. You're having a little beveragino. Everything's good with the world. Your sister comes up to you, Kate. She's about to get married. So you are Ellie. She's about to get married to a guy who's a massive prick. You actually hate him a lot. You think he's just a massive arsehole. Anyway, so Kate comes up to you and she goes, listen, will you do me a favour? Because you are my maid of honour and you are my sister and I do love you. Please, can you just go to Brazil with my fiancé and pick up my wedding dress? You know, spend a bit of time together. Get to know each other. I don't know why you hate each other. Come on. Let's all be friends here. It's all going to be lovely. Cut 2. Let's go back in the day. Okay, so, Ellie, so you're at school. It turns out you're a tutor. So you're tutoring about, doing your thing. You're at school. Your parents are fucking arseholes. They're horrible. To the point where your dad is contemplating doing you.
Ooh.
Yeah, threw that out there, I know, didn't I? Strap in. There's going to be a lot of this throughout this whole podcast. Anyway, so you're going through a lot of fucking trauma. So you're tutoring a guy. He comes in. He is a dish. He is fucking delightful. You're like, yeah, he's a bit of me. He comes in. You're having some chats. Even he's like, yeah, she's a bit of me. I like her a lot. But he's like the jock of the school. Like, everyone wants to be in his boxes. Anyway, so you end up trauma bonding because he's also got a dad that's a fucking arsehole. So between you both, you're connecting to each other. You're bringing each other some love. It's all bloody lovely. So you're like doing secret meetups, doing little spicy things, nothing too serious because you have still got your V-plates. But you're having like little kisses, little touches. Oh, it's all lovely. He's turning up. He's got scars on his back. You're like, oh my God, we need to get you away. So his dad is that awful that his dad is also contemplating his daughter. So
Jesus fucking
yeah.
Christ.
So the lad's sister, the dad's a drunk, but he's like the sheriff or something. Like he's
Fucking hell.
big
Yeah.
in the game. So he's trying to do his utmost so that he can move town with his sister and get her out of there, get her out of this situation. But he's getting the brunt of everything, so he's got scars on his back. His dad's beating him up. It's all terrible. Anyway, so these two, lovely, getting it on in the secret. It's all sly. Then it fucking kicks right off. Badly. Loads of secrets come out. Loads of fucking secrets come out. He's got to end it. So, his name's Nate. Let's go back to the present. So, present day, you're on your sun lounger. You're having a good time. Who are you going to Brazil with that your sister is about to marry?
Nate.
Yeah, it was Nate. It was Nate all along. So, she's like, I can't tell my sister about everything that happened back in the day because we're meant to hate each other, but actually we're secretly in love. So they go out for dinner that night. So after the pool, and she said, you're going to Brazil to go and pick up my wedding dress. They go for dinner, and her sister's like, I know this guy. He is hot stuff. His name's Dimitri. I'm going to set you up with him. I think you two would be a great couple. And Ellie's like, no, but I'll come. So she goes along to the dinner. And then, so her and Dimitri are sat together. Obviously, Nate's like,
Fuming.
livid. Absolutely livid. Kate's like, what the fuck is going on? Why is he so angry? Anyway, so they're at this dinner. Nate then says a few things, and Kate's like, what? Like, what is going on? Like, do you two know each other? Like, what is going on here? Anyway, more things start progressing. So then, when they're back in, like, their room in this house, he's making tea. She comes downstairs. Then they end up having secret chats about how much they still like each other. And the sister hears it. And she's like, what's going on?
Oh, my God.
Anyway, so she still sends them on their merry way. There's, like, so much to this story. Like, obviously, I can't tell you why all of this is happening, because there is backstories to all of these things. But this is basically the gist. So she drops them off at the airport, speeds off, doesn't even say bye. They're, like, kissing, all of this stuff. We're back on, woohoo! He's like, I'm still going to go and get the dress. Obviously, they don't make it to Brazil. It's called Wrecked. The fucking plane crashes. The plane crashes!
Wait, so where was Dimitri? I thought Dimitri was in Brazil.
No, Dimitri's at the hotel. Do you know poolside?
Yeah, I thought you meant in Brazil.
No. They're poolside.
Poolside where?
I
At
don't
home?
know where they were. Somewhere.
Right, okay, sorry.
So, it's wrecked. The plane crashes. They manage to survive.
Obviously.
Otherwise, it would be a really
Obviously.
shit book. They manage to survive, and it's only them two. So they're now on a deserted island. And the issue that they have is that when the plane was crashing, the pilot was like, okay, we've got no signal. No one knows where we are. I'm going to turn round, though, because I can see that there's an island over there and I'm safer to land there. So no one knows that this is what has happened, that they've taken this track. So if someone goes looking for them, they're not going to fucking know where they are.
Because they've gone off radar.
They've gone off radar. They've gone rogue. They've got onto the sand and then they make love. They make love on the sand, on the beach,
Nice.
as they've thingied, which I wanted to discuss quickly. I don't like the idea of sand getting in my crevices
No.
at all.
Mm-mm.
It's going to be in all of them as well. Like, because they didn't just go straight in. They done all of the bases.
It's going to be on, like, your hand. Like, it's something simple as, like, him just using his hand down there. Like, you've already smeared sand down there now.
And that's coarse.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, that's painful. That's already painful.
You hear a lot about people doing it on the beach, though, didn't you? I wonder if people do it on, like, the hard sand, you know, where it's wet. Where it's gotten wet and it's a bit harder. Well, then that's uncomfortable, because then all your
Surely.
clothes are getting wet. So unless you're naked.
And they're not just going to have a sun lounger.
No.
They're on a deserted island.
Yeah, I mean, whatever tickles your pickle, literally.
Anyway, so now they're on this deserted island and they need to live. Like, that's what they've got to do. They've got to keep on going. So now the storyline is between them trying to survive on this deserted island, waiting for someone to turn up and save them, and all of the backstory that's going on at the same time. Which then builds you into a situation where you fall in love with both of them as characters, and you get an understanding of what has also happened to the sister. So the thing that made me cry was the ending, which I can't tell you about anyway, because they'll fucking ruin the whole thing. But there's a double whammy. There's two situations that happen at the end, and both of them are not good.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Separate situations.
That's the only thing about doing these kind of books, isn't it? It's like, you're like, oh, I can't actually tell you about why I cried.
No, which is quite annoying, but it gives away the whole thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, moral of the story is, don't go on a plane that's going to crash, really. I'd say.
I mean, I try not to.
I know. It's hard, isn't it? Anyway, that's it. I've got nothing else for you.
That's it, really.
I don't have a favourite scene because, in all honesty, the spicy scenes weren't great. Yeah, so all in all, I understand why people weren't happy about it. You could have just been given them going into the plane crash, and then maybe the things that were happening back in the day, they get trickled through after that, rather than it just keeping on switching, because it was so confusing.
So what stars did you give it? 4?
4, yeah. I gave it 4 because I enjoyed the dark bits.
Yeah.
And how sort of twisted it was. Like, the twisted bits. Like, the bit where... So, obviously, there's, like, a little cheating situation, obviously. And even that, I was like, I shouldn't like this, but I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
Because you had the two perspectives. Because you had the bit where they're in the kitchen doing stuff, and she can overhear what's going on. And then you switch to her perspective of them. And her
The
going in
sister.
the bathroom, yeah.
Yeah.
She goes in the bathroom and, like, drowns herself in the shower. Not literally. But then you have her thinking about what it is that they're doing in the kitchen, and it was pretty fucking heavy, actually. That's it, really.
That's it, really.
That's it, really.
So, I'm going to go into the Heartstrings duet by Liv Zander. So, this is Crying Me Dead and Crying Me Yours. Both books are quite small. Book 1 is 274 pages and book 2 is 249 pages. So, 500 and something pages together. So, it's basically just like one whole novel. It definitely could have been like one whole book and part 1 and part 2. But I quite like that they were both small because it felt like you were really making a dent in the story, which is obviously like a weird mental placebo situation because it's still the same amount of pages. If you look at a book and it goes 500 odd pages, you're like, oh, that's a bit long, isn't it?
Also, kudos to the author, because what she's done there is, I'm going to sell you 2 books for £10 each instead of selling you 1 for a tenner.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to sell you the same
Clever.
amount of pages for double the amount of the cost.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And who's buying one without buying the other?
Not me. I love this. Absolutely. This was basically written for me. I reckon she went, what would Nikita like?
Yeah.
And then wrote this.
Yeah.
I reckon. So I'm going to go straight in with stars. I gave book 1 5 stars and I gave book 2 5 stars. I gave it 2.5 chili peppers, but same with Still Beating. It was like, actually, potentially, this could even be like 2. It really didn't... It mattered, but it didn't matter. I don't know if that makes sense. You know, it's like... I don't remember the spice because the story itself was so fucking good that my brain doesn't automatically revert to the smut because the whole story was fucking insane. It was just like a nice added thing to the book and to the story as opposed to it forming such a monumental part of it. I mean, it was obviously important, but it wasn't like important. Do you know what I mean? And it blended in perfectly, the spice as well. It didn't feel like it was there just for the sake of it, which sometimes it can, especially when something is only like 270 pages. Okay, so the tropes are, it's fantasy, obviously. It is a sort of love triangle in book 1. There's lots of mystery, lots of secrets, hella heavy on the grief, and a truly epic and beautiful love story. I don't even know how else to describe it. And it's so funny because when I've watched other people's reviews or like when they just briefly talk about this book after they finished it, everyone has said, oh my God, it was so beautiful. And I'm like, it's actually not often you hear, especially not for the books that we read in the area that we're in, it's not often you hear people calling books beautiful. So I was very intrigued, and I got to the end and I was like, yeah, that was fucking beautiful. Like, insane. Absolutely insane. I genuinely don't even know where to start. I say I don't know where to start, but I'm going to start at the start. So one of the big things that everyone has been talking about with this book, apart from the fact that it's obviously made them cry and it's beautiful, was also how graphic it was in discussing the rot that's in the book. And just throwing it out there, I fucking loved it. I loved how disgusting it was.
There was the scene, I've started this, so I started this on holiday, drunk. I think I got like 100 pages in, but there was a scene where he coughs and then maggots end up in her mouth. It was something like that.
Yeah, so there was a couple of scenes where, like, there's a lot of scenes, actually, with maggots. Did you get to the point where she got to the king and he popped the thing and the maggots came out?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was some maggots burst and they went into her mouth.
Yeah.
And she ran out the room. Was it that scene with the king, do you think?
That might have been it, yeah.
Because there was the scene with, like,
grim.
there's the dad who was coughing and then, like, because everyone's fucking coughing everywhere all over the shop. Yeah. Yeah, so it's very heavy on the rot. So the rundown is we've got this rot that has kind of consumed the city. Everyone's fucking dying. Everyone's rotting from the inside out. And there's like maggots. There's like everyone's coughing up blood. Like their skin is literally falling off, just sliding off their body. And like the flesh underneath is decaying. There's maggots fucking everywhere. There's these like pus-filled boils and cysts that like pop and burst. And it's vile. I thought this was really inventive and I fucking loved it. So we've got Ilara, who is a gravedigger with her family. So her mum and her brother. Her dad is unwell, so he's bedridden with the rot. And obviously they are not shy of work at the minute, being gravediggers. So they're out and about everywhere. You know, these people are dying. They go in, they do their bits, they remove the eyes, they sew up the mouth, all of that kind of jazz. They use like herbal remedies and stuff to like, you know, pull out any like disgustingness, and then they sew up the mouth, blah, blah, blah. So they're not shy of work. So she's out at work one day with her family, and then all of a sudden a guy called Vale appears. And he's like suited and booted. He's like well dressed, he's pristine, he looks clean, he looks good, he looks handsome. And she's like, who the fuck is this guy? And how is he managing to wear nice clean clothes? He clearly is not afflicted by the rot. So he says to her, he's like, look, I think you could help us with this rot if you come to the castle and you take upon a job of being the caretaker to the king. And that involves like popping his pus-filled cysts and bandaging him up and taking care of him, making sure he drinks water and blah, blah, blah. Just literally taking care of him. And she's like, well, how the fuck can I help you? Like, that doesn't make any sense. He's like, look, there's a curse that's actually on the crown. And the crown has to be fed blood. And it hasn't been fed blood. And I think you can do it. So you need to come to the castle, be the caretaker for the king, but you have to seduce him. You have to seduce him to fall in love with you. And then he has to sacrifice you and feed the crown your blood. And then the rot will go away until the next time. So it has to be continuously fed. This curse has been passed down from generation to generation to generation through kings. So now we have the new king, obviously, who has the crown, and he is just point blank refusing to feed it. So he's like, hold himself up in his room. She's like, okay, I'll do it, but I want you to feed my family because obviously nobody has access to bread anymore. Like the ground is rotting, all of this kind of stuff. So no one's got any bread, no one's got any food, everyone's living off fucking porridge and water. And even that to stretch. So she's like, so long as you feed my family, I'll go and do it. He's like, sorted. Let's do it. Let's shake on it. So she gets picked up. She goes to the castle. She introduces herself to the king. And then we have that situation where he tries to scare her off by like peeling away his clothes and showing her his pus-filled cysts and whatnot, popping it. Then maggots fly out. They go everywhere. She runs off back to her room. The king thinks that she's fucked off and she hasn't. But Vale is saying to her, like, don't cower to him. Like, you need to be quite bold with him. Like, don't let him, like, run you around. Like, he wants someone that's going to stand up to him, blah, blah, blah. This is how you need to be. She's like, okay, got it. So that's what she does. She basically just goes in and is herself. So it was easy for her. And the king takes to her. So eventually their kind of relationship builds the more she's caretaking for him. But also on the flip side, she's got this, obviously the king doesn't know that she is trying to seduce him. He genuinely thinks that she's just the caretaker, there to look after him. And then he starts to like her and fall for her. And then you've got Vale, who she's got this little secret mission with, and then she starts getting close to Vale. So then you're in this situation where we're like, well, hold on a minute, who the fuck is the MMC here?
I said that to you, didn't I?
Yeah. Who's the MMC? I don't know. I did not know until book 2. Well, actually, until the end of book 1. But it wasn't until book 2 where I was like, okay, definitely it's this guy. There is so much mystery and secrets in this, and it all just starts coming out. Like, people aren't who they say they are. Things aren't how they seem. History has been changed.
Oh.
Things have been rewritten.
Oh.
Nothing is how it seems. And I cannot talk about book 2 at all. So from this second onwards, I need to be very careful about the wording I use for book 2 so that I don't give away who the MMC is.
Oh, that's nice and annoying.
He actually texted me and was like, oh, so who's the MMC then? And I was like, I'm not going to fucking tell you that.
I know. Because then I was like, am I going to read it? Am I going to have time? Just give me the info. I am going to read it.
You have to read it. It's so fucking good. Oh my God. So at the end of book 1, I sobbed my fucking eyes out. Sobbed my eyes out. Everyone was like, oh yeah, book 1 was good. It was fun. It was a good time. Like, really enjoyed it. But book 2 was devastating. And I got to the end of book 1 and I was like, fucking hell, no one warned me about this. Are you joking? I was crying my eyes out. Yeah, sobbing my eyes out, I was. I actually could not decide between the two of them because one minute, and this is really clever writing, by the way, because one minute you were like, oh, he's a bit of a prick, isn't he? So obviously it's the other guy, like the other guy. And then you get to the other guy and you'd be like, oh wait, but he's a fucking prick. He's been lying. He's not even who he said he is. And then you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Now I don't like any of them. And then you get like a further story on one of the other ones, and actually you realise the way that they were behaving was because of a different situation, and then you get backstory and context, and you're like, oh, actually, I kind of like him now. And then you get more context on the other one, and why they were the way they were, and I was like, I am hella confused.
Yeah.
Not because I was confused, but I was like, I don't know who to like. I don't know who my favourite is. The only way I can describe these two MMCs was, if you have ever read Lightlark by Alex Astor. So you've got Grim and Oral. That you've got like the king and then the dark guy. So Vale would be Grim, the dark one, and the king would be Oral, the king from Lightlark. And that's the only way I can describe them. Let me think about how I talk about book 2 for just a moment, please. Hold the line, please.
Hold the line, please, caller.
Because so it's a happily ever after.
For who?
But it...
For you or for them?
I can't say that. I literally can't say. I can't say. There's so many things I can't give away. So it is a happily ever after to some degree. To some degree. But it's very, very bittersweet. So I knew at about halfway into book 2, I was like, oh shit. I think I know how this is going to end. I know. I don't know how we're going to get there, but I know what the epilogue is going to be. Yeah. I just knew. And the epilogue was exactly how I thought it was going to be. Exactly. Did it make it any easier to digest? Did it fuck? Oh my God. It was fucking awful. It was awful in the sense of how it made me feel because it was so fucking bittersweet. It was, oh my God. I don't even know. It's so annoying not being able to talk about it because I want to say all of the things so for the people that have read it so I can connect with those people and obviously just say it out loud. So I knew the chapter was coming up as well. So before even we got to the epilogue, as it was coming up, I literally, and it's very rare I do this, pace. Like I stood up and pace read. So I was pacing the room. I was like pacing around the bay window. I had like the window open, a breeze on my face because I was fucking sweating and crying. And I stood at the bay window pacing around until I looked up and like when I was trying to clear my eyes and realised that there was people out walking their fucking dogs and could see me crying at the window. But I was like, oh God, oh no, oh fuck. Because I knew it was coming. And I cried before I even read it. And I really did just have to like pull myself together to be able to read it. There were like some pages and some chapters and scenes that were genuinely almost poetic in the way that she wrote them. Like genuinely, I was reading it and I was like, that's literally like reading fucking poetry. It was insane. Honestly, absolutely insane. Obviously, I can't talk about any favourite scenes. Most of them were in book 2. They were fucking incredible. I will say, though, that I did really enjoy all of the kind of rotting scenes. I enjoyed the scene when she first met the king and she ran off. I did really like that. I liked when she got a little bit hot and heavy with the king. I liked when she got hot and heavy with Vale, and he like pushed her against the wall and it was all aggressive, and I really liked that. Like, it was really good. I do have a quote. This is one of the last 2 things I will say. It's all basically from her POV until we get to the end, and then we get sort of like his POV, which I quite liked, actually. So he says, Ilara, I say her name like the way I said it in the throne room, like a prayer, like the first and last word in a language only we speak. Say it one more time. I love you. The words come as easily as they did the first time. Easier, maybe, shaped by years of practice. I love you even after this. I actually can't say the next one because I think it might give it away, the next bit. I genuinely thought I was going to cry my eyes out saying that, but I think because I read it earlier, I might have already got it out. But the say it one more time, genuinely, I had to set the book down and leave it and then come back to it. Because I was physically bawling my eyes out. Like, it's the only... I actually dog-eared the page. So I didn't annotate this. I didn't take any notes as I read it. I smashed through both of them, like, in one afternoon. Back to back. No breaks, no breathers, nothing. And that was the only page I dog-eared, was that say it one more time. I love you. I'll love you even after this. Oh my god. I wish I could read the rest to you because it's literally incredible. Oh my god, it's like literally insane. You have to read it. It's like, it's insane. It's obviously not just the quote itself. It's like how we get to the quote and then after the quote.
Yeah.
Like, anyway, it was so fine.
Hey, shall I go to my...
It was so fine and I had so much fun.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, dear. But yeah. And the last thing I will say that I did want to talk about this, and I put it in my Goodreads review, was that I really hope there's some kind of spin-off. Because there is room for it. The way she ended it feels very finite. It feels very like, this is it.
Right.
But there is definitely room for some kind of spin-off. Like, absolutely. There really is. And I really hope we get it because I feel like I just need more.
I feel like I need more.
It was fucking incredible.
I am going to have to read it, aren't I?
I think that, like, actually even talking about it, and like, it actually might even be a 6-star for me. Like, it was fucking insane.
No way!
It was so good.
You heard it here first.
I think, like, the way it made me feel, like, the way it was written was like fucking like nothing I've ever read before. It was like, you know when you read something you go, she was like, the author, she was really in the fucking zone.
Yeah.
That's how it read.
We love that.
Yeah, she was right in the fucking zone in this. Like,
I fucking love that.
Absolutely did not miss a single page. Not a single page. Like, it had everything you could ever want. It had the fantasy elements. It had, like, the will they, won't they. It had the mystery. It had the secrets. It had the lies. It had the betrayals. It had the coming together. It had the character development. Oh, the character development of the MMC was insane. Like, insane. Just from where we started to where it ended was insane.
It's the king, innit?
I can't tell you that.
I know you can't, but that's all I'm going to think about now.
You're just going to have to read it to find out. Oh, really quickly, one last thing. So, for anyone that's read it, you'll probably know what this means. But there was a situation at the very early on in book 2 where she had the potential, the FMC, to meet someone in her life that had died, but only for like a few minutes to have a chat. And I was desperate for that chat. And it never happened. And that was the only thing that made me sad. However, it made the story itself more intense and sadder because it didn't happen. And it also, it allowed the mystery to continue as well because she couldn't have that conversation. But yeah, if you're ready, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay, my next one was actually a really nice treat. In a way that I wasn't expecting this to be what it was. So I'm going to do Break Me Beautifully by Eneanor Crowe. That's this lovely book here. So I smashed through this and didn't come up for air. Like, you will know, if I have to read 400 pages, that's going to take me a while. However, I think I did this in an afternoon. And that's insane for me, because I'm quite a slow reader. But I just fucking loved it. Right, so, my rating for this book was 4.5. And the only reason that it wasn't a 5 is because it did get a bit messy. And you know, like, where the writing is a little bit like, that could have been a bit better.
Yeah.
The way that you wrote that could have been a little bit nicer. If it was like plain sailing, the writing was fantastic, it would have been a 5 for me. Spice was a 4. So this one we have got forced proximity, tension for fucking days, touch her and die, an age gap uncle, forbidden relationships, because there is more than one.
As in, like, step uncle, or
No.
like blood related uncle?
Not blood related.
Okay.
Yeah. We have got the FMC, which is Nina, and then we've got the MMC, which is Cole, and he is 48. Can't remember how old she is, but I'm going to guess mid-20s. Big guess. So we have got Daddies in here. We've got, I mean, he's utterly fucking delicious. So the vibes that they were giving were Uncle Jake and Tierney.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
Like, to the point where there was a scene in the kitchen. And I was like, she gets burnt on her leg. And he strips her. And he's just clocking eyes with the old leopard print panties. Ah! Honestly, I thought I was going to fucking explode. Anyway, so, this book. So we have got Nina, who used to be a cam girl to make the Kashish Monet, but she's now with a guy called Lee, and Lee is controlling as fuck. Like, literally calls her a slut, is, like, horrible to her. Oh. Yeah, he's grim. Disgusting. Anyway, so she's having dinner at her parents' house, and they're like, you know, your Uncle Cole, he is looking for a nanny for his son, Reese, who's 5, because Auntie has just passed away, but Auntie was a very nice person. We could take her or leave her. There's actually a quote in this, which I'll read later, which was like, okie dokie. Excellent. Which was good that you found out that you didn't like the auntie before this quote came out, because it was, whoo! Anyway, so then he had two other sons. So he's got a son called Blake, who is like 30, muscly, snake bites, bit of a prick. And then there was another son called James, who's committed suicide literally like last week.
Oh, already, yeah.
Yeah. So it turns out Blake wants to get revenge on Nina, because he believes that Nina is the reason that James committed suicide. And the reason for that doesn't come out until, like, closer to the end.
Okay.
So that is the reason he treats her like utter horseshit. Anyway, so she goes to the house. She ends up meeting Cole. Straight away, she's like,
yeah.
Oh.
He's a bit of me.
Hello. Handsome. Because he hasn't seen her since she was a little girl playing with the fucking butterflies. So even he's like, she's a woman now. There hasn't been a woman in the house for a while. And now she's here, fucking walking around in her fucking shorts.
Yes,
cooking me dinners. Yeah, big time. Honestly, big time. Anyway, so she's there, she's looking after Reese. It's all very sweet. And then she kind of get glimpses of Blake, and he doesn't really give her anything. And she's like, why is he being so weird? And then he calls her cam girl name. And then she's like, what? How do you know that? And he's like, because I know everything. So then she's like, how the fuck? How does he know that? Anyway, so it all comes out at the end. So now she's taking Reese to like school. She's making them dinners. Cole comes home and he's like, dinner time is my time. Like, don't take that away from me. And you know, like there's all like this delicious tension between them. And it's all very like that. Yeah, she gets boiling water spilt on her legs. So he strips her. And then he's like down there and he's like padding a flannel onto her thigh whilst her panties are literally like
right in his face. And he's like looking, and you get like his inner monologue of like, oh, this is close. So this was actually one of my favourite scenes, because that is the point where they end up doing it. But it was a lot long after that. So it was one long scene, but it was a long after that. But we've been waiting for ages for that to happen. But honestly, it was delicious. Anyway, I'm going off track. So the main storyline is that Nina is still with Lee,
Lee doesn't want her to be in this house with Cole because he's like, you're being a slut. Like, you've literally just moved in with your uncle. You don't know anything about him. Like, stop being a slut. Come and be with me. Cole then realised that he's been beating on her. And he's like, you ain't seeing him again. Like, you're never seeing him again. Even to the point where Lee turns up at the house to come and get her. And Cole ends up literally beating the shit out of him in the driveway. That was fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
That was really good. So then that's when Nina and Cole end up building this relationship. However, in the background, you then got Blake threatening her, saying, I'm going to tell my dad that you're a cam girl. And not only that, you forced my brother to unalive himself. And she's like, how though? Like, I don't really understand what's happened. Like, how did that happen? So there's this scene. It was hard work. There's this scene where she is with Reese in bed, the little boy, like trying to get him to go to sleep. And he's like, Blake's playing like music really loud, like I can't sleep. Can you go and say something? Oh, it was heavy as fuck. So she goes down. It's Blake and all of his mates. Blake's got like this girl on his arm that's like kissing him and stuff. And then, so I don't even know how she ended up on her knees, but she ended up on her knees somehow. And then they all just took turns on her. And Blake wouldn't do anything about it. And basically forced the whole situation to happen. So Cole was away. So he didn't even know that all this was going on. Like, by this point, her and Cole had actually slept together. And it was all delightful. They were like, oh, it was a beautiful moment. But then this thing happened with Blake. And then it was like, oh, no. Because how are you going to tell Cole that this is now a thing? Because then you're going to have to tell Cole that you're the reason that James killed himself. And you don't want to do that either. So she just took it. She just took the whole situation. And it was really fucking bad, actually. It was really, really fucking bad. But that is not the most traumatic thing to happen in this book. This book got so fucking bad at the end. I couldn't stop crying. And I can't say what happens because obviously it gives the whole thing away. But what I will say is there's a DVP scene in this with Blake and Cole.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Brother and dad straight in there like swimwear. Absolute fucking beautiful. Beautiful scenes.
Oh, I think I might have to read that.
Yeah. Honestly, this book was so fucking good. So my favourite scene, so that scene was great. There's another scene where they're going to dinner with her parents and he puts a vibrator inside her. And then they're playing charades and she gets up to do the charades and he puts it on full thingy. Honestly, this man, fucking delightful. So the bit where he's got her panties and then he like kind of storms off and leaves her there with her little wound. So this is where he realised that she had all these bruises from Lee as well. So she goes back to her room and she's like, I know he comes to my room at this time and he watches me through the door. He's been doing that for ages. I know he's going to do it. So she's like, I'm going to play with myself because he's not getting away with this. Like, he's left me high and dry down there. Yeah. After that delicious moment of him being that close to my areas. So he's outside watching. And so she's just playing with herself. And then he just walks off. And she's like, no, fuck this. I'm not having this. She goes trotting off to his room. In she walks and he's there, man spread, cock in his hand, just going to town on himself because he is ready for the action. That's when they end up finally doing it. He says to her, open your fucking legs, baby girl. I want you to come all over my tongue.
Oh.
Yeah. They end up doing a 69er and it's fucking delicious. So this has been scatty as fuck because I don't know in what order to say any of this in because I can't give away what happens at the end. But let's just say it's fucking emotionally devastating. It's fucking terrible. So some of my favourite quotes are, so this is before they both realise that they want to do each other. So this is his inside head when he's looking at her and he's like, tasty. I can't help the way my thoughts twist into something dark where I question what she would look like naked and dripping in my room late one night. If she'd enjoyed taking every inch of me. As long as they stay that, thoughts, then it's harmless, isn't it? It is, yeah. But I'm glad you fucking cracked. And then another one is, still, the mind wanders. It slips into shadows where the lights go out. I imagine her, sweet fucking pussy all over my mouth and the way I know I'd make her come all over my tongue. Honestly, he said some things. Oh! This is the bit where I was saying about the auntie and it's a little bit...
Oh, yeah.
So this is what, because my mind straight away went, oh, the auntie. Interesting. This is what she says. So this is when they're doing it. The edge of his wedding band catches the exact nerve in my clit that makes me see stars.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's the face I did. That's the exact face I did. Oh, he's got a wedding band on though.
Bad,
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's bad.
It's bad, isn't it? If she hadn't said before that the auntie was an arsehole and that she wasn't a nice person, and then that quote came up, I would have been devastated.
Yeah.
I'd have been like, I can't. I'm
don't know
not
if
sure
I can
about
carry
that.
on now. Yeah.
But anyway, that's it really.
It was nice to have one that was like a bit saucier in the mix here.
Do you know what? It was fucking spicy. I gave it a 4. Like I mean, it could probably be more. The DVP was
4 chili peppers.
Woo!
That's a lot, yeah. I think I'm definitely going to have to read this at some point. Is it on
honestly,
audio?
It's so good. No, it's new.
Oh yeah, you said that, yeah.
It's new, but it's not long. So it's the thing is that the words are tied together. Do you see what I mean? So it's 285, whereas I think on Kindle it's 400. But I think it's because the words are literally like
Crammed together.
So, but yeah. Oh, I'm so glad I read it because it just gave me the Uncle Jake Tierney feels.
That itch.
that I didn't know I needed. Yeah.
Well, we did. You've never... I'm sorry, but if you've read Credence, let's all be honest, you've never been able to scratch that itch
you
since.
haven't. No.
That Credence itch has never been scratched since. Not in the same way.
Oh,
Not at
God,
all.
No, and it's so necessary as well, isn't
So
it?
if that scratched it, even remotely, you best believe I'm going to be in about that shit.
Yeah, you should. Honest. Oh, God. Oh, God. Cole was incredible. As an MMC, he was so fucking tidy. 48. Daddy kink. If you're going to chuck a daddy kink at me, make sure he's fucking 48 and he's like Uncle Jake.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, delicious. Absolutely fucking delicious. Loved it.
Okay, so really quickly before I move into my next book. So I was watching this video on social media the other day, and I don't know if anybody else has seen it. And it was basically some girl was saying that, and she wasn't on Book Talk, she was just saying it in general, and then using sort of like books as an example. But she was like, we don't have any original thoughts anymore. Like, if we read something or watch something, we'll go and go online straight away, whether that's TikTok, Instagram, Goodreads reviews, IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, whatever it is. We'll go online straight away. We'll have a look at what other people have said about that very same thing, and then we'll instinctively pick the review or the comment that fits best with what we thought we felt at the time.
Yeah.
And then we'll stick with that as then our own opinion.
Yeah.
Rather than sitting with something and forming your own opinion of it. And I watched that video and I thought, that's right.
Yeah.
That's true. Like, you'll read a book, finish it, go on Goodreads, have a look at the reviews of it, and then instinctively you will gravitate towards the review that maybe like touches on some of the grievances that you had, but also mentions all the things that you loved about it. And then maybe there's a couple of things in there that you didn't necessarily think of at the time, and then you'll adopt them as your own because you'll read it and go, do you know what, you're right actually, you are right. Whereas really what you should be doing, and this is what they had said, and this is what stuck with me, is that you need to sit with your thoughts yourself before you go out to gather information from other people. Sit with your own thoughts, form your own opinions, so they are authentically yours before you then gather information from other people, so that you still retain your own genuine thoughts and feelings and opinions.
Yeah, I totally get that. And like, I do get that. But what I will stand up for people that do the gravitating towards reviews that they think are how they feel, is people that don't know how to articulate themselves. So, you know, like, you may sit there for however many weeks and still not know how to articulate how you feel about a book. So, going onto Goodreads and seeing what other people think and then being like, yeah, that's the one, that's what I think.
Yeah.
And then being like, you know, not copying it word for word or whatever, but, you know, like, you'd be like,
being able to articulate something you did think.
That person can articulate how I feel. That's how I feel. And then you then being able to write in your own words how you feel. Like, I totally
Yeah, that's absolutely fair, yeah. The point of the video was that sit with your own feelings and thoughts first. Like, form your own opinion in your head. And I guess, yeah, if you can't outwardly articulate that, then obviously, yeah, you're gonna look at those things and go, oh, actually, they've articulated how I feel to a T. Like, absolutely, that's how I feel. I totally get that. But from my own personal point of view, and from my own self, I don't necessarily think I ever, like, went online and without my own opinions and then used other people's to then form my own. But it did make me think, I've definitely done that plenty of times before, and then I've adopted potentially opinions that I didn't have in the beginning, but have then looked at other people's reviews and gone, yeah, I agree with that. And it's one thing to agree with something, but it's another thing to agree with it before you've even formed your own opinion.
Yeah.
So then you're taking on other people's opinions as your own, rather than making up your own mind first and then absorbing other people's opinions.
Yeah.
And that's what I try. I genuinely did that this week. So every book that I read, I did not go online and have a look at any other people's opinions of it. I didn't have a look at the reviews. It's difficult in the situation that we're in, because a lot of the time we'll see the reviews before we read the book. And that's difficult, because something might stick with you about it. Like, for example, a lot of people said that the Heartstrings duet was beautiful, and I read it and I was like, yeah, I agree, that was beautiful. It would have been nice to have seen what would be the words I would use. Would I have used the word beautiful if I hadn't have seen so many other people saying it was would I have also used the word beautiful? Or would have I articulated it in a different manner? Would I have said something else? Anyway, my point is, I very much tried to sit with my feelings and my thoughts with these books, because I felt like if they're going to be emotionally devastating, then I want to give them the time that they deserve in my brain and in my body to process before I write anything down. So I didn't make any of my notes straight away. I sat with them for a bit, didn't go online, didn't look at Goodreads reviews, and then I just wrote down exactly what was in my head. I was also doing like a little bit of light research about like social media and about what people gravitate towards when they're watching people who do like yappy videos. So like us doing reviews, and other people who do like yappy videos, story times and all that kind of stuff. And people gravitate towards people who can articulate how they feel, but don't know how to articulate it themselves.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to articulate it in a way that's your own thought process, so that someone who can't articulate it, exactly what you've just said, goes, I fucking resonate with that. That's exactly how I feel. But it has to be formed off your own opinion and not off the back of other people's for it to then come across and be authentic, obviously. Anyway, that was my little thought of the week. I would say let's do a little thought of the week every week, but I don't have thoughts every week.
I don't think I've even got one this week.
Some weeks I don't have any thoughts at all.
No.
I just do be existing.
And simply exists.
Yeah.
And that's as good as you're going to get.
Anyway, let me go into the next one, because we've been recording for a while now and I've still got 2 books to get through. So, obviously One Last Rainy Day is going to be relatively easy, because I can't talk about fucking anything in it. I can't even give you a rundown. Literally. So that one's going to be nice and easy. As you were like, basically, I read this book and I cried my eyes out. The end.
That's what you should do.
That's it.
Just put the book up and just say that.
Anyway, next book, or books, is going to be the Torment Duet. So that is the Bleeding Heart series by Dylan Page, and it's the first 2 books in that series. So there's 5 books in this series. Book 1 and 2 are Torment Part 1 and Torment Part 2. And then you've got the rest of the books, and they're all kind of like interconnected until you get to book 5, which is basically a spin-off of the Torment Duet. And I will 100% be reading it. I haven't decided if I'm going to do 3 and 4 first yet. I feel like I should, just so I've got like full context and full story. Yeah. But I know that it's not 100% necessary. So I'm sort of like, oh, I kind of really want some more from this story, so I'm tempted to skip them, but I know I shouldn't, you know what I mean? If anyone has read book 5 and has read that spin-off, I don't want to say who or what it's about, because I don't want to give away anything for this story. But if you've read it, please leave a comment anywhere you're watching or listening and let me know if it's worth it. And also if you read 3 and 4 or if you just skip straight to 5. Thank you very much. That would be very much appreciated. So I'll just go straight into stars. So I gave 4 stars to book 1 and I gave 5 stars to book 2. But overall, if I had to rate it as if it was one book, it would be 5 stars. That's me being pernickety. So like that would be basically me saying, oh, I would give the first half of that book 4 stars, the second half 5. But genuinely, overall, 5 stars, 100%. Chili's, I give it 2.5 to 3. It does include on-page grape. And it's hard to digest because it's not like... I mean, obviously, any grape is hard to digest regardless of who or what in the circumstances. But it was that situation where it's like, it's someone you know and it's someone she loves, but she still doesn't really want it to happen and she's struggling to articulate that. And it's, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, reading it, it's not consented to. But in the same respect, it's like, it's hard because they love each other.
Yeah.
And that's hella bad. Anyway, definitely read the content warnings. I tell you one thing I didn't know going into this. It was Motorcycle Club. I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, didn't know that. And at first I was like, when I first started reading it, I was like, oh, I don't know about this now. And I nearly swerved it. Very, very nearly swerved it because it was Motorcycle Club. But I carried on reading and fuck me, I'm glad I did. So... tropes are, it's forbidden, step-siblings, dark, motorcycle club romance. There's a very small love triangle situation, but it's not really presented to us as a love triangle. And if you read it, you'll understand what I mean. She definitely doesn't want it to be seen as a love triangle. Hella trauma. MMC is battling some really serious demons. And then we've got like good girl, bad boy situation. And he has a lip piercing and long hair.
Oh.
Little side lip piercing with like, I think she said his hair skimmed his shoulders.
That's alright. I don't mind that at all.
Fits the vibe with Motorcycle Club. So when I get to the end of this review, I'm going to read the author's note at the end. And it will contain potentially could contain some very light spoilers. Won't be like proper spoilers or anything, but if you don't want to hear it, then obviously I'll tell you at the time that you can skip that. But it made me absolutely sob my eyes out. So the FMC is Mina and the MMC is Shay. We do have another MMC who sort of takes more of a back seat, which is what I mean when I say it is sort of like a love triangle situation without the triangle. I don't really know how to describe it. I'm not going to say that person's name because I don't want to give that away. So Mina's dad died quite a while ago and her mum has been just fucking miserable ever since. And then she meets this new guy and Mina's like, oh my God, she's smiling again. This is amazing. Like I haven't seen that smile for so long. Like I'm excited to meet this new guy. So he turns up one day on his motorcycle. James turns up one day on his motorcycle and he's really nice to her and she likes him. She gravitates towards him immediately in a good way, in a fatherly way, and she's like, yeah, I like this guy, this is nice. They all move in together and then it turns out they find out he's part of a motorcycle club and he also has a son who his name is Shay and he's just a few years older than Mina. So when Mina meets Shay for the first time, he's still young. I think he's like 12 and he's been like fighting this like group of guys and he won. Like it came out victorious, but he's like so young and he's like smoking and he's drinking. Like he's a proper bad boy. But obviously at the time he's still a kid.
Yeah.
You know, just as she is. Anyway, she meets him for the first time and he actually kind of like gravitates towards her in a brotherly way. And he's a really bad kid. But for whatever reason, he seems to be more caring and more calmer when he's around her and with her. So on that first meeting, he kind of like really gravitates towards her, looks after her then in a brotherly way, like, you know, picks her up, carries her on his hip like a brother would do, you know, that kind of thing. So years go by and the two of them then obviously they get older and then things start to change. So they go from being more sibling-like to then being a little bit more romantic. Bear in mind they're step-siblings. He is very, very clearly into her and he does want to move things along, especially now that he's older and he's getting involved in the motorcycle club that his dad is part of. I want to say his dad was like the president or he was like in charge of the motorcycle club, but don't quote me on that. So before I continue with the rundown, this is important for context. We have a dual timeline, which I think is what you said you had in one of your other books, where we're flitting to the past, but we've also got the present. And at the end of book 1, at the end of part 1, those timelines meet up, they merge. So we start at the past, and we start in the present, and then we go back to the past, and then we come back to the present, but only for a short amount of time, so that we don't go too far ahead, so that eventually the timelines meet up, and then you understand how we got there. So anyway, their relationship obviously starts to progress. Just bear with me on this, because it does take a little bit of getting to in explaining. This is present time, bearing in mind now. So things ramp up. They do eventually come together. He is massively forcing and coercing her into it. She does love him, but it's so fucking toxic. Like, he is a horrible MMC, and his dad really wasn't that much better, I will say, at all. You know, at first you're like, oh, this is great, these people are lovely, and then all these like things start coming out, and you're like, wait a minute, James is a fucking cunt as well. He's no fucking better. He's a prick. Like, he was good to her, but in other aspects of his life towards her mum and stuff like that, he was just a fucking prick. And I was like, I hate everyone. I hate all of them. I don't like any of these people. It is really, really bad. It's really toxic, really abusive. I am going to talk more about the rundown in a second, like, and more about like what actually happens. But honestly, some of the worst quotes I've ever read in my life, some of the worst things that's ever graced my eyeballs and gone into my ear holes came out of this book.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was like I cannot even tell you how fucking raging the rage I felt could not be contained. Like, I felt like I was going to burst into the Hulk.
Right.
I was fucking livid. I actually might read you one of them. So out of context, they might not seem so bad, but if you just imagine the coercion and the grooming and the control and all that kind of stuff, you know, and imagining it in the context of the book, it is bad. One of the quotes is, "It will be all your fault because you told me to." Again, out of context, might not seem so bad. That's from book 1. And a quote from book 2 is, "You're my girl, Mina. It's time you fully embrace that. Now open your mouth and take me in." Again, out of context, could be alright. In context, abso-fucking-lutely not. Absolutely not. I've literally got a note next to that quote that says "nope" in capital letters. And that was just for Shay. Like I said, the stepdad wasn't that much better, to be honest. He kind of like, he was cheating on the mum and stuff like that. They had a very toxic relationship. He treated her like shit. The mum tried to get out. There was like an accident and she tried to get away. He ended up making her stay. And the reason he made her stay is because his son is such a fucking psychopath. And the only person that calms him down is the mum's daughter, is her. So he was like, I can't lose the mum because then I'll lose the daughter, and the daughter's the only one that keeps the son in control.
Fucking hell.
She ends up staying eventually. He forces her to stay. That's a downward spiral. The mum goes into alcohol and depression. She's a total alcoholic now. She's missing all of the daughter's dance recitals, really important situations, all that kind of stuff. But yet James is still there, showing up, even though he's the catalyst for the reason why the mum is now an alcoholic. God. So that's conflicting. It's sort of like, well, he's showing up to these dance recitals. He's like being nice to her, and the mum's just being a fucking alcoholic and not giving a shit about her anymore. And that's difficult because obviously in your head you're like, well, I know the reasons. Yeah. But it doesn't excuse it, you know? That was difficult to read about. So let's go back to the start real quick, because we did go from the start to the middle, but let's just rewind it back.
Nice.
Okay? Let's just go back a second, because we open with Mina in the hospital. And we're like, well, how did she get here? What happened? Her leg is broken. We're like, I don't understand. There was a few times in the book where I was like, do I need to go back to the start? Did I miss what happened here? No. It's not fed to you until the end when the timelines merge. Yeah. So that's what we're building up to. How did we get to the point where she's in the hospital? So we start with her in the hospital in the present time, and then we go back to the past to her being like 5 years old, her first meeting with James, and then we build up, we go to her 7 and 8 and 10 and 12, up until we get to the point where she's 16, nearly 17, and she's in the hospital, her leg is broken. And then we find out how she ended up there. And when I fucking tell you, that shit is bad. That is fucking terrible. Honestly, if I had to imagine what happened and what led her to have a broken leg, that wouldn't have been it.
Oh!
I wouldn't admit it was bad. And that's how we ended book 1, where we find out what happened. And it was so fucking bad. It was just so bad. So she wakes up in the hospital. Obviously, she's got a broken leg. But the only people there are James and the stepbrother Shay. Mummy Dearest is nowhere to be found. Anyway, and we go into book 2. And it's all present time. We're done with the past now. And then James, the stepdad, sort of like disappears for a long time. We don't really get much from him until like towards the end. He does have somewhat of a redemption. Both MMCs do. He does have somewhat of a redemption. And I was like, fine. It still doesn't excuse the way you treated her mum. But like, I'll accept this for what it is. I'll get over it. Shay also had somewhat of a redemption, and I genuinely didn't think I would feel the way that I felt at the end of the book. So let's not forget the love triangle situation. So there's behind the scenes, there is another MMC, guys, don't forget. Considering how absolutely enraged I was for a lot of this book, when the end of book 2 came, I was fucking crying my eyes out. That redemption hit hard, because it was like, you can't just absolve someone of all of their sins, but also in the same respect, it was like, I have to accept this redemption for what it is and what's happening right now. I mean, it was just, and it all kicks off, like, there is the whole plot line of the motorcycle club as well, and like the beef between 2 different clubs. And I will say, the rival, the other MMC, is not from the same motorcycle club that they're in.
Oh,
just to add a little bit.
We like that.
It's all very messy. Not in a bad way. I just mean it all gets very messy. It's all very toxic. It's all very like, fucking hell, what we're going to do now? She is quite literally trapped as well. Like, she's trapped in this situation that she can't get out of. Shay is so fucking toxic, like saying shit like, well, if you leave me, I'm going to lose my shit, Mina. I can't control myself and it'll be all your fault. Do you want that to happen? Do you want people to get hurt? No, that means you have to stay. You have to stay and you have to love me, because otherwise I'm going to do all these things. It's going to be your fault. Literally saying those things to her.
Oh,
and I was like, that is terrible. So then she was like stuck in this situation, but then she fell in love with him. And she was like, but I do love him. And she's obviously trying to say to the other MMC, like, who she does love, but I love him.
Yeah.
And it's so toxic, so messy. I really thought, genuinely, I thought this was going to be 4 stars until I got to the end of book 2. And then it went off so much, and I had such a visceral reaction to the end of book 2 that I was like, I can't not give that 5 stars.
Oh!
It was insane. The epilogue literally sent me into outer fucking space. Like, I was defying gravity, just
that's good.
Floating around the place. Genuinely.
One likes to float.
So it's not a happily ever after, but it also isn't one either. Hovers somewhere in between.
Oh.
So I don't really know. I think you have to make your own mind up about whether that is your version of a happily ever after or not. I personally felt like it hovered in between, where it was like just acceptance that it just is. I've actually wrote that, resigned acceptance that sometimes life doesn't always end in a fairy tale happily ever after. What a fucking journey I went on, let me tell you. That was a journey and a half, these 2 books. Like, they really fucking were. Like, you'll love it. Yeah. You will eat this shit up big time. Oh, 100%. I did immersive read this, so I had the audio on at the same time, and I will say the FMC's voice got a little bit whiny sometimes, like, because she's like crying a lot of the time, she's upset, ends up sounding just constantly whiny, but it was fine, I got over it. And also the audio comes with the Kindle Unlimited book, so you don't actually have to buy it on Audible. So if you download both of these books on Kindle, you'll get the audio book with it to download in Kindle.
That's good.
Yeah, really good. So it's free, basically.
Fucking love a freebie.
Which is great, yeah. So all of the books are from her point of view until book 2, when you get one single chapter from Shay's point of view. And it's Teddy Hamilton. I nearly fell off my seat when he started talking. Oh my God, that chapter from his point of view. I reckon I just passed away.
Did you? Physically?
Yeah.
Gone?
Yeah. I was just gone.
Out.
I was sobbing my way through it. It was just... Fuck me. So I'm going to read the author's note now. So if you don't want any mild spoilers, please just go on maybe like a minute or two. If you dip back in and I'm still talking and saying it, then obviously just go ahead another 30 seconds or a minute just to be safe. If I do accidentally say any spoilers in this, I will edit them out. Don't worry. So this is the author's note. I understand that many will be upset with me over this ending. Please know I didn't write it this way because I wanted to tear out your heartstrings and laugh manically in a dark room afterward. Needed redemption. In his act, he finally did what she needed, and that was to put someone else's needs before his own. She may not have forgiven him, but the love was there. I know there are some questions left unanswered. I know some things I'm sure you wish I'd included in this book, but here's the thing. In life, we don't always get the answers to questions. And as this was all from Mina's perspective, she discovered some truths while other parts remain a mystery. The same goes for Shay. He never found out who Mina had the secret relationship with. And honestly, I'm glad he didn't. It would have utterly broken him, and he was already living in so much darkness to begin with. The other MMC's affection for Mina began because he saw himself in this little girl. He was forced into a life he didn't want, and if he could, he would save another poor kid from getting sucked into it. Some of us are born into a life we are meant for, while some of us are forced into one we are not meant to be a part of. The latter is this MMC, but this was never a love triangle story. This was about a troubled relationship between step-siblings who live in a tough world and who both have traumas. All three of them deal with their issues differently, because people are different, and that's something we need to understand about each other as humans. We are all so beautifully unique and tragically afflicted by different torments in our lives. The ending. I wanted to leave a possibility of things. I want my readers to interpret some stuff on their own. I, for one, dislike having everything full out explained to me. I have always loved coming back to a story later, reading it again and finding little Easter eggs to tie it together. Or maybe in a future book I'll recognise a reference to something from a previous and suddenly something I thought was missing or wasn't even aware of I needed an answer to clicks into place. I love that type of storytelling and I wanted to write something like that for all of you. Sometimes, oh dear. Sometimes there is no happily ever after. And sometimes a happily ever after is something less grand and fantastical than we expected. But that's okay. It's just life, and it doesn't owe you anything. You need to fight and find your happiness. You need to fight for your life and make it what you want. Don't waste it, and remember to always be kind to others. You have no idea the secret battles someone is fighting in their own mind. To quote Dawn Sarah, there is no timestamp on trauma. There isn't a formula that you can insert yourself into to get from horror to healed. Be patient, take up space, let your journey be the bomb. Lots of love, Dylan. There was obviously lots of bits in between that I didn't read, but Jesus fucking Christ. I was literally crying my eyes out, and obviously after finishing the book, when you read the author's note, knowing everything you just read, it was literally broke me in half. Oh, I know that was long, I'll probably cut that down. That's it really. Now I'm just going to go and cry in a dark hole.
Oh.
So he was like, Shay was like really badly suffering from some mental health afflictions. And, you know, it became very, very obvious the older he got that he was really, really suffering. And he was just putting that on to other people, like really, really badly. It was heavy. But I'd recommend it.
Okay, I need a drink before I do this one. Fuck me.
I'm actually scared about this. I'm scared about this. Good Lord.
So what I did...
This is getting worse as it goes on. We've literally saved the worst to last.
Yeah, we have.
We've just gotten worse as the podcast goes on. The books have gotten worse.
Yeah. So this one, what I've done is I'll do a rundown on what it's about, and then I've picked out some fucking dreadful parts, just so that you get a taste of what's in it. Because I can't go into everything. I can't go into everything. But fucking hell. Fucking hell, it was so dark. It was so dark. And then when you thought, okay, let's just keep going. Let's just get through the next fucking day. Nope. No chance. Of course that's not going to happen. Oh. Anyway, I'm going to start by reading the trigger warning page because this pretty much fucking says it all, to be honest. I think I started crying from about a third of the way in. A third of the way in, half the way in, I started crying. And then it just got fucking worse from there. Like, I couldn't even come up for air. I was like, sure. And then because you're so heavily involved, when I explain to you these characters, so the FMC and the MMC, once you're reading all these things that happen, you're like, how do they get through this though? Like, how even, anyway, we'll get there. Anyway, so trigger warning, every warning, all of it, everything you can think of. The list is long and this book is traumatic. Be mindful of your mental health. Please do not proceed if you have any triggers at all. This is your warning. A full content warning can be found on my social media accounts and webpage. And, I mean, fair fucks, because it was full of it. It was fucking full of all of the shit. There was no resting. There was no, I've just looked at some of the things that I wrote down. Yeah, it's terrible. So, one thing that I will say about this is it was a little bit too long. So, they were obviously going through a lot of traumatic events. And I think it got to the point where I was like, okay, we've done everything that you can put in a fucking trigger list now. Let's end it there.
Yeah.
Just everyone just die and let's just fucking move on. Like, let's make this easy. Everyone just fucking die and let's just move on with our lives. Of course that never happened. But it was a bit too long. Maybe 100 pages less would have been, I mean, it still wouldn't have been great. I don't know why I did that. Like, it would all be okay. It's not okay. This book is not fucking okay. Anyway, so the FMC is Jolie. The MMC is Woodrow. So Woodrow is himself, but he is also Woody, which is a 7-year-old boy, which when he was 7, he obviously witnessed something traumatic. I'm going to tell you what it is. It doesn't give away anything. Mm-hmm. But when he was 7... So this is human trafficking situation. His dad and his mum are massive human traffickers. The women that they had in the basement, they forced to do stuff to him when he was 7, and then the mum got herself off watching. Yeah. Yeah. That's not even the worst thing. So obviously he's got a person in his head that's stuck at 7 years old. So that's Woody. And then you've got Hell. Hell is the very bad side. The very bad side that you never want to see ever. Ever.
So how old is he now? His body.
Back in the day when all of this started, she was 18 and he was 17. And then it's 10 years later is the present. Okay. The other thing that you've got to think about as well is when he turns, he could be in certain situations and he could turn into a 7-year-old boy. Yeah. Or he turns and he becomes this really aggressive man. Woodrow tries to suppress both of them, but they will come out at any moment. Anyway, so let's get into a rundown. So we've got Jodie, who was adopted at a young age, and she now only has her adopted father, but unfortunately he passes away and she gets taken by this human trafficking ring. She ends up in this wooden box and she can hear that it sounds like she's going into a house, and then she hears this little girl. So the little girl's called Nessie, like little. She's like, oh my god, they might have taken me somewhere that's normal. Also, she's got a V card. Don't know how that happened, but yeah. Oh my god, they might have taken me somewhere normal. So then she hears like this older guy and he's like, go and open your present. So then she can kind of hear like a whole family dynamic going on. And she's like, is this like normal? Like, what's going on? Anyway, so the boy opens the box and it turns out she is there for Woodrow. So obviously Woodrow's got all of these problems and they have got him a friend that can suppress his, bad sides and just be a friend to him. Like, be all cutesy and nice and stuff. So Winter... So we've got Vil, which is the dad, and Winter that's the mum. Vil has got no time for anyone. But Winter takes her upstairs and she's kind of like, look, back in the day, I was also trafficked and he spent all of his money on saving me, and now I love him and I'm here for him. We saw that you was in the same position, so we have spent all of our money to get you here so that we can look after you and you can be best friends with Woodrow. She's like, oh my God, I actually might be all right here then. Like, everything seems okay. So this house is dark as shit. Like, there is no lighting in this house and it's all very eerie and not nice. But then you've got Nessie, that's this little girl, and she's so fucking adorable. Like, she was so cute and so nice. I can't even go into what happens to her because you don't want to know. And she's just adorable, and she, like, connects with Jolie, like, immediately. And, like, to the point where they share bunk beds and Nessie will come down and she'll go, can I sleep in your bed? And then, so then they share a bed and they, like, cuddle together, and it's all really fucking sweet. So, that's, like, the first part of the past happening. And then we have got the present that happens at the same time. So the present is, you've got a guy in a suit. He's in, like, this room. It's dirty. It's disgusting. He's, like, flipping through, like, looking at women, and then he's like, I'll pay you whatever you want, but I want her back, is basically what he's saying. And she comes out, so Jolie comes out 10 years later, and she's like, no, don't make me go with him, oh my God, no, I don't want to leave. Yeah, so that is Woodrow / Hell, who is then coming to collect her to basically bring her back with him. And that's at the fucking start. So then you're like, well, obviously it must go to fucking shit if she's like, I can't go back with that man. Like, don't make me do this. Anyway, so obviously I said about how Winter was saying about how they're going to be nice as pie and all of this stuff happened to her back in the day, but then obviously you find out that she is very heavily involved in this human trafficking situation and has obviously let women do stuff to her son while she got herself off watching it happen. So Woodrow is fucked. So he's got this, you know, the Adam's apple situation. So where his dad beats on him so hard, his Adam's apple is like fucking massive. So when he turns into Hell, his dad beats him. And then when he comes back to Woodrow, everyone hates him because he does like so many bad things when he's Hell. Like, he stabbed his mum's leg. Like, he done all of this crazy shit when he was Hell. And then when he turns into Woody, the dad's like in love and like protects him and all of this stuff. And it's so fucking confusing. It's utterly insane. Like, the whole thing is fucking insane. So, back to the past. So she then starts having this blossoming relationship with Woodrow. And he says to her, like, there's other sides of me that you don't know about and I don't think you're going to want to know about. And she was like, look, let's just see how we get on. Like, this could progress into something. So they end up falling in love, like, as Woodrow. Like, she's like, nothing that you do to me now is ever going to change anything. I fucking love you. Like, they do, like they go up in, like, the little tree house and, like, they have all these lovely moments. And, like, the mum and dad start being really distant with him. And it's obviously because he's turned into Hell and she hasn't seen it.
Oh, right, yeah.
Anyway, let's cut to the present. So she's now in love with Woodrow back in the day. Let's cut to the present. She's with Hell. Hell then takes her to Vegas, forces her to marry him, grapes her. It's just fucking awful. He's just fucking awful. He ends up forcefully putting his pee-pee into her mouth and she ends up biting it and there's fucking blood everywhere, like, and all this stuff. And then he turns into Woodrow and then Woodrow's like, so I see you and Hell aren't getting on then. There's just it's just fucking utterly insane. I don't even know where to go with this. So I'll tell you the first bad thing that happened. And then I'm going to go into some of the scenes that just fucking progressed from there. That just got really fucking terrible, to be honest. So just to go back to the present. He marries her, she bites his cock off, and then he locks her in a dog cage and won't let her out of the dog cage. Shaves her hair off. Like, yeah, it's really fucking bad. It was really bad, yeah. But then it's the Stockholm situation of her being with these men that she'd obviously known from the past, because when they fucking tell you what happened in the past, it's so fucking bad. She's kind of like, okay, well, I mean, I loved him once. I could probably do it again. And there's this fucking beautiful scene, but I'll get into that later. Anyway, so she's in a dog cage, so that's all in the present. Back to the past. So, her and Woodrow, they're in love. So Woodrow tries to get Hell and Woody, when they come out of him, to, like, write in a journal, so he knows what's happened when he's not there. It's very, like, wishy-washy. Anyway, One night, it all kicks off. The whole family. It all kicks off between fucking all of them. And then Woodrow suppresses and hell comes out. And the dad says, look, she's your gift. Go and claim your woman. She's still got a V card at this point. Vil's like, go and claim your woman. Show her who is boss. So she's on the bottom bunk. Vil is sat in the corner on his phone. He's got his phone out recording the whole situation. He's like, you've got basically prove to me that you're a man. To hell. He gets to the bed with her. He does grape her. And Vil records it. And then when he's finished, he turns into Woody. The young boy. And honestly, I could cry just thinking about that scene alone. Whew. Because, she's obviously like bleeding out everywhere. And then he's like this 7-year-old boy that doesn't know what's happened. So he's like, please talk to me. I don't know what I've done wrong. Like, I don't understand. And she's like, please just get away from me. Like, I can't be around you right now. Oh my God, it was horrible. It was fucking horrible. It was really tough to read. That was horrible. Anyway. So that was the start of it all being very bad. So that's when you knew that the dad was in on it, was in on all the bad things. And then that's when the dad started inviting round all of his mates. And he would like lock her in a basement. And then they would like do stuff to her. Oh, this was fucking heavy. I don't even know if I would suggest anyone to read this. Because I cried so many fucking times.
Yeah.
That I was like, I can't be like, I had such a good time. It took me 3 fucking days to get through it.
Yeah.
Because it was hard work. Anyway, I'm going to go through some of the things that happened. Ooh. So, Woodrow would always have a pet for someone to love. And his dad would always kill it. That was one thing. There's a meat smell. And this is consistent. There's a bad meat smell in the basement throughout the whole book. And when she finds out what it is, this might be a spoiler, but I'm going to tell you what the fuck it is anyway. When she ends up in the basement, there's 2 dead women down there, and 2 men buy the dead women to eat them. Oh no. Honestly, when I was like, I don't know how this could get any worse. It can. She got pregnant.
Oh my God, it keeps getting worse.
I know.
I almost want to tell you to stop talking.
She got pregnant, and I physically cannot get into what happens with that. And I really can't.
Let's not talk about it.
That's bad. Woodrow ends up going to prison. This is known throughout. He ends up going to prison after the past because he does some bad things. And obviously in prison he turns into Woodrow, Woody, and Hell. And let's just say he gets gang raped at one point. Yep.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Oh, I've said about the 7-year-old thing. I don't. There's an illness that comes out of fucking nowhere that shattered my whole fucking life. Yeah, dead pets. Vil gets his pals involved, and the worst thing was Vil bringing his mates into it in the basement where they did stuff. His mates call themselves women's names, so it was so fucking confusing. One of them was like Sylvia, but it was like Sylvia with the massive gut, and like it was. This book is so fucking heavy. That's it, really. If you want something to shatter your life, fucking read it. Yeah, you go for it. You do what you've got to do. Whatever makes you happy.
It won't be this book, though.
Not this one. Yeah. The fucking little girl. Honestly. It was all bad, really. So I have got a favourite scene, funnily enough. And I've got a favourite quote, but I think I might cry if I say this quote. My favourite scene is... So, in the present, they move back to the mansion that they were originally in back in the day. And Hel is on, like, this swing. And he's been trying to get her to read. And she comes out and she's like, I finished reading it. Oh my God, this is like our story. Like, and they like have this little moment. And then she gets on top of him and she basically wants to like own him because he's Hel. And she would never really wanted to do it with Hel. She always wants to do it with Woodrow. So they end up doing it on this swing. And just the way that it was like spoken about, it was like proper sensual. Because you know, like it was like the swing's going and she's on top of him, and like they would come apart when they were like at the top, but then when they went back down they'd like go into each other. And there was one point, so what she does to get Woodrow to come out is she'll put a daisy in front of his nose when Hel's there, and because that like triggers something for Woodrow to come to the front of his mind. So whilst they were doing it on the swing, she got this daisy and she put it up against Hel's nose, and then he turned into Woodrow, and then they had like this beautiful moment on the swing, and I was like, oh, God, I love you lot. I mean, it's still fucking sad though, wasn't it? So the quote. If you've read this, you'll know what section this is in. So the quote is, oh, I don't think I could do it.
I could watch you I could see you giving up.
Oh no. Okay. Oh no. Oh, it's so bad. It's so fucking bad. Oh, it's not even funny. Oh, this is a really weird coping mechanism. Oh my God. Hang on, let me just blow my nose. I will get the quote out one day. Okay, the quote is...
One should always read the trigger warnings.
The thing is, they're not even accessible easily. If you ain't got internet, you're just going to be like, well, let's just see what happens. And then you're going to be fucking traumatised. I never read the triggers, but I feel like I could see this list being fucking insane.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me have a drink and then I'll say the quote. When I say the quote, you're going to be like, that doesn't fucking mean anything. But in my head, it means so much.
That's shit.
Okay. The quote is... Sleep well, Angel. Never a victim. Always a survivor.
Oh.
Oh no! Oh, she done so well. Oh, I've had enough. I physically can't cope anymore. Honestly, she went through so much. I don't know, and then there's a fucking. get into that.
I can't even do it. Oh. Didn't even read it.
Oh, I've had enough. Oh, that felt good to get that out though. I'm never speaking about this fucking book again. Never. It was so good though. Oh god. Oh god.
I've literally got mascara everywhere. Oh.
Jesus Christ.
You're a fucking mess over this, David.
I didn't realise it would be this bad. I was like...
I think I've seen you cry like one time, and it was about 3 tears. This is sending me into the fucking stratosphere. Seeing you cry like this, I feel like you're having a breakdown.
That's what it feels like. Honestly, when you think about all the characters that were in this, obviously some of them do get their comeuppance, and you're like, fuck yeah! Oh, thank fuck for that. But then, bad things happen to good people as well, and it's just fucking horrible. But yeah, that quite fucking destroyed me. It was fucking awful. And that's it, really. You can move on now. I might not even bring that book home. I might put it in the freezer.
Just to be safe.
Yeah. Oh, honestly though, please, do just check the trigger warnings. I know, like, some people do say nothing. I mean, it wasn't even that I was like, oh, I can't carry on.
Yeah.
Because I did carry on. It just hit me in so many feels.
In all the feels, yeah.
Anyway, enjoy. I'm just going to put these on now. Carry on like this.
Okay, I'm going to go into my last one really quickly, and I'm going to be super quick with this one. I think ideally if I had known that... Yeah. Oh my god! I've just turned around, and she's got her suckle. Wait, let me move the camera. Wait. Fuck me.
I'm all puffy-eyed.
If I had known that book was going to go like that, I'd have ended the podcast here. I literally just sat here then contemplating, do I just end this now? I don't want to say ending on a high, because it's like the complete, we're in hell at the moment.
I'm in the pits of hell. It's really bad.
But I thought, do we just end it here? And I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to run through this quickly and just get it out, because otherwise I'll never talk about it. And I've been trying to read this literally for 2 years. Okay, so this is One Last Rainy Day by Kate Stewart. So this is... is it the Legacy series, something like that? And it's a spin-off series for the Ravenhood series. So the Ravenhood series is 3 books, and it is Flock, Exodus, and The Finish Line. And they are emotionally devastating within themselves. Not necessarily book 1, but books 2 and 3 really are emotionally devastating, especially Exodus. Exodus is one of my all-time favourite books on the fucking planet. And I know that book 3, The Finish Line, has a lot of like mixed reviews because it's a lot slower pace compared to the other 2 in the series, and it's basically all around Tobias and the relationship development for him in that. But I loved it. I am a Tobias stan through and through. And the MMCs in this book, there's actually not really, you can't really get away from sort of knowing about the MMCs in this series. If you're on Book Talk and stuff, it's difficult to kind of get away from that. So I'm sure a lot of people who haven't even read it probably know the sort of premise around it loosely anyway. Yeah. And about how you're either a Dom girly, a Tobias girly, or a Sean girly. And I am a Tobias stan through and through.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I will say, however, this book really put Dom up there. Like, when I read the Ravenhood series, I didn't like Sean. The first time round, I didn't like Sean at all. Did not like him at all. Swayed a little bit when there was a very specific scene where Cecilia comes back and she goes to see Sean with a certain car, and there's a scene where she says, "Are you happy?" That nearly ended me.
Yeah.
And that was where I was sort of like, oh, actually, this is a bit bittersweet because I do actually kind of like him. But Tobias was the guy for me through and through. Dom, I was sort of like, meh, I can take him or leave him. Reading One Last Rainy Day, which is all from Dom's POV, it really did make me gravitate towards him. So you get so much more context that wasn't provided in the books, in the original 3 books, in the original trilogy. We go back to the very start when Cecilia very first arrived, Cecilia being the FMC. The book, to me, was basically in 2 parts, so One Last Rainy Day. It was basically in 2 parts. I had like the first half, which was providing so much more context and to the behind the scenes of all of the inner workings of their little gang, the Ravens. Why did they make the decisions they did, as in Dom and Sean? Like, what was actually going on fully behind the scenes that led to certain situations in the trilogy that we maybe didn't get the answers to, and you probably didn't even realise you didn't get the answers to until you get to this book, and you're like, fuck me, I forgot it. Like, Jesus. Okay, well, that puts that situation in perspective. I didn't even realise that needed further context.
Yeah.
And it was incredible getting that from, so it was like a behind the scenes look on the trilogy, on the first book and a bit. And then the second half of One Last Rainy Day was more relationship development, so that's when the spice kicked in, and it was so fucking good. We got some new scenes and fresh scenes that we didn't get in the Ravenhood series. That was really lovely. We got some OG scenes that we did get in the Ravenhood series. That was also really lovely. And getting it from his POV and what was going on in his head. And especially the first meeting, when they very first meet and Cecilia turns up at their house and Dom walks out and he's being a fucking prick to her and kicks her out. You get his internal dialogue before he even sees her, and you realise he's seen her before he even meets her from like the window and stuff. And it was just really nice to get that and realise that there was actually so much more to him than what we initially thought. That was very much needed, especially for me. So for me, ranking wise, it would be Tobias, Dom, and then Sean. Sean's book. Now, I don't know if it's Sean's book. It fucking better be Sean's book, because it's the last in the Legacy series. It's due to come out at some point soon. I don't know if it's next year, end of this year, I can't remember. Everyone is speculating about whose book is going to be. Some people are saying it's Sean's, some people are saying it isn't. I mean, surely it's got to be Sean's.
Wait, hasn't Tyler got 2?
Yeah, we've had Dom's. Tyler has had 2 books, and we've got 1 more book. Surely that's going to be Sean's. It's got to be. And I am excited to get that, because I was fucking livid. As much as I disliked him for a lot of Flock, I was livid at the way things turned out for him. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to spoil it. So really quickly, a quick rundown of Flock. I mean, this is going to be super quick. You've got Cecilia. Her dad lives in Triple Falls. He's like hella wealthy, got loads of money. And in order to access her inheritance, he said to her, you need to come back and live in Triple Falls and work at my factory for a bit to get your inheritance. Her mum is not very well, and she's like, well, I need the money. Her dad left like years ago, didn't funnel fuck all to them, so they've grew up struggling. And she's like, well, now's my opportunity to get some cash. I'm going to look after my mum. I'm going to do my time here in Triple Falls, then I'm going to fuck off with the cash. So she gets to Triple Falls. She starts at her dad's factory, working there. She meets Sean, who's like a supervisor there. They have like an instant connection. They have a bit of flirty banter in the workplace. He invites her out, round to their house for like a couple of drinks and stuff like that. She goes round to the house. She's talking to Sean. She meets Tyler. They have a little chit chat. Everything's great. Dom ends up coming down. This is in Flock, remember? Dom ends up coming down out into garden, and he's like, get her out of here right now. She's underage, as in drinking age. She's underage. She shouldn't be here. She's going to get us all in trouble. Now, I haven't read One Last Rainy Day. A lot of the things he said make a lot more fucking sense now. And you understand why he said some of the things he did and why he acted the way he did. She ends up carrying on seeing Sean, but she can't help at the same time, she starts to feel quite attracted to Dom. And I don't know if you remember, but she catches Dom, he's like naked, he's sitting on his bed, and it's just fully out there, and she stops and stares at him, and he catches her, and that's when she kind of realises, oh, actually, I think I might kind of like be attracted to him. And then Sean basically says to her, look, if you're attracted to him, like, this is not, you don't have to be like fully into it with me. You can explore this with Dom at the same time. Like, we can have this sort of like 3-way open situation. floaty scene.
Oh.
And that's exactly how we end up in the floaty scene situation. So before we even get to the 3-person situation, she does have lots of spicy scenes with Sean. There's the waterfall, all that kind of stuff. Delicious. It's great. So she spends all of her kind of like sunny days. She goes out hiking with Sean. They go to waterfalls. They go to pools. They do loads of stuff outdoors. And then she starts feeling things for Dom. She explores things for Dom. They end up on a floaty one day. They have a little 3-way on the floaty in like the middle of this like lake situation. And then things start progressing with Dom. And Dom becomes the person that she spends her rainy days with. And their relationship progresses. And then just out of the blue, Sean and Dom start pulling back. So again, remember this is in Flock. Sean and Dom start pulling back and we don't know in Flock. We don't know why. Like, why is this happening? And it all gets so emotional and devastating for Cecilia. She's like, why are they doing this to me? Like, where are they going? What is happening? And there's a scene in Flock where she sees them when she's out at this festival. She hasn't seen them for a while. I mean, they do something quite bad to her. Like, they humiliate her. It's really quite bad. And she doesn't understand why. No one's told her why. And we don't know why as the reader. All we know is that they're a pair of pricks. And she's fucking devastated. Then she's at this festival and there's a scene where Sean is there and she sees him across the way and she ends up chasing him through this festival. And it was fucking heartbreaking reading that. It was awful. She ends up following him. She gets to the car. Dom is also there. Words are exchanged and it is utterly fucking heartbreaking. And you get that scene again in this. And when I read Flock, that was one of my key scenes for me. Was that one. So reading that again, I'm glad I got it again, as hard as it was to read, but also getting the further context of what was actually going on in Dom's brain at the time and what he was actually thinking. Because what he was thinking and what he physically did didn't necessarily marry up, but it made you understand him more. And then at the end of Flock, you get the introduction of another MMC, and that is where we pick up in Exodus. Then is another MMC who is actually the head of this gang and has been sort of more behind the scenes this whole time. And I'm not going to spoil it any more than that. I'm not going to say anything more than that. But the story really unravels from there, and Exodus just gets so fucking sad.
Yeah, it does.
It is horrendously heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And then the finish line is also sad because we make references back to that. And everyone's just trying to get on with their life, and it's just awful. So in One Last Rainy Day, we go back to the very start. We get all of that from Dom's POV. Not every single scene, but we get most of it. Like I said, we also get new scenes as well, which was really, really nice. One of the new scenes that we do get in One Last Rainy Day, and it was one of my favourite ones. I'm actually just going to read you it directly from what I've written here. So, favourite scene. It's not one of Dom's rainy days. So she actively says, like, if it's raining outside, I'll spend the time with you, whether it's a week, whether it's 2 days, whether it's a day, whatever it is. And then sunny days with Sean. So it's not one of Dom's days. So he's shaving her and edging her at the same time to kind of like build her up and tease her. So he's touching her really gently in all of her places, like her inner thigh, between her toes. He's talking her through it. So he's basically sort of saying, you're like, do you like being touched here? And what about here? And it's like really sensual. He's got the razor, but then he's like it's just touching her in like all of these zones except where you would want to be touched. Because he's basically saying you don't have to go right to the area. You can be touched in other places and it can feel equally as good. So it's all sensual, it's all sexy. He's talking her through it. Then he grabs her bikini bottoms and he wedges them in between her folds, puts shaving cream on her down the sides and starts shaving her really slowly. Bearing in mind, he's not supposed to be touching her because it's not his day. And she's like, no, fuck this. I don't care if it's not a rainy day. You need to put it down right now. So she goes in for a kiss. He finally gives in, but instead of going all in, he just traces his finger around her area, but not exactly on the area, not where she wants it. And then he starts tracing like around her nipple and stuff like that. And she's like, literally begging him, and he's like, no, please, just trust me, like, just carry on, just feel it, be in the moment, just let go. And basically he makes her finish from mere gentle touch on her areas alone. That's it. It was fucking incredible.
Yeah, nice.
If you just pick that book up and go straight to that scene and just read it, it was insane. The whole section from where he starts shaving her legs, he's like touching her toes. Oh, it was great. And I've written here, which leads me into my favourite spicy quote. So I actually buddy read this with Modern Mum, so Kate, and I'm so fucking glad I did, by the way, because having somebody to bounce off with this, because it was so fucking emotional, was so good. But we both agreed, like, I read this scene and I went to her and she was like, did you just get to the scene? And then we both basically sent the same quote at the same time. So he says, if only it were raining, I taunt, making my first swipe. Swish, tap, tap. And she says, we can. And he says, shh, I whisper, taking great care as I run the razor gently across the sides of her pussy. Then we have the lips. But there are more than just one set, I whisper. Actually, there's 3. The ones you gloss, and the others, I smirk up at her, I gloss.
Fuck off.
One you gloss. One eye gloss.
No, one simply cannot.
Okay, Dom, coming through with the fucking goods.
Wow.
Oh my god, it was incredible. And then obviously the other favourite quote, which is the standard: eggs runny, coffee black, beer cold, music loud, cars fast, women. We love rainy days, don't we, baby? Honestly, that I'm gonna have to get that tattooed on me. We love rainy days, don't we, baby? Because it's just like you relate it to this character in these books. After this, want to watch a movie? We can make that cheddar popcorn I love.
No, I can't.
And we can crowd under the blanket.
Cried. Enough for today.
And we can crowd under the blanket that smells like, what's that smell? Lavender. I can't read the rest of it. And then there's another quote. You thrive on love, and we fucking starved your heart. We just left you here. We both know I didn't deserve you, but you made me feel like I did. All of those quotes, honestly, like, I could keep going on and on and on and on with all the quotes in this. Like, it's just filled with them. Like, you could basically just rewrite the whole book.
Yeah.
Reading this book is definitely up there as one of the worst experiences of my life.
Yeah.
But also one of the best at the same time. Like, I just had, it was the most unforgettable time, and I literally sobbed for days. Not just in the moment, days. And I, like, played Luke Combs' Fast Car, so his version of the Tracy Chapman song, for about 3 days solid. And I just cried every single time. You know, when you're like, I just need to get it out. I do not regret a single second. I'm so glad I did it. I'm definitely going to go into Tyler's books. I always thought to myself, I really don't want to read Tyler's. But the Tyler that you get, and especially at the end of this book, the way it goes at the end with Tyler, phenomenal. Like, I can't, it makes me excited to read his book. I'm glad I've left it a while to talk about it, because I think if I had tried to talk about this at the time, right after reading it, I'd have been in the mess that you were just in a minute ago.
Yeah.
Genuinely. And I'm so fucking glad I waited to talk about it. I feel exhausted just from watching you have a breakdown.
Yeah, it was hard, actually.
Yeah.
I'm fucking knackered now. I am a shell of the woman I was at the beginning of this podcast.
Yeah. And that's it, really. I know the Ravenhood series isn't for everyone. I know a lot of people didn't like Flock, and I get it.
Yeah.
But for me, it's up there as one of my all-time favourite series, and Exodus is definitely one of my all-time favourite books. And
good.
this, so I would say, like, I gave this, like, 5 to 6 stars. And, like, the first half of it, I was like, what? There was some parts where I was like, I don't really understand what's going on, but it does become apparent the more it goes on. And then once you get to kind of like part 2, unofficially, and the relationship builds, and then you start to form the understanding of what's going on, you're like, oh, okay, that does make more sense. But I will say, like, you obviously cannot go into this book without having read the Ravenhood trilogy first. And not just for context, but because there's the way she has written this is literally like, it won't make sense at all. There's like some things in there it's like, well, that's obviously a reference, and you'll only understand it if you've read that series, which means if you haven't read the series, the whole page and the whole chapter wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, you need to read the Ravenhood first, but it's definitely worth a read if you're ready for it. Absolutely. Okay, and that's it. We're going to end it here. We've been recording for over 3 hours now, which is officially, I think, our longest, apart from the Alchemized one we did. I think this actually is our longest podcast. And then we've got Girls' Night In, so that's also going to be a long one as well. So hope you're ready. The Girls' Night In, we've got like games and stuff as well. I bought like a Prithian ACOTAR Cards Against Humanity.
Oh, Oh, cute.
So I don't know how saucy it is. I'm going to take it out later and have a little look and see. And then, yeah, we've got some like face masks and PJs and
Cute.
all that kind of stuff. I'm going to end this here because Tia literally looks like she's going to fall
Pass
into
away.
a million pieces. Okay, we'll see you next week for Girls' Night In.
Woohoo!
Oh, cheers.
Oh,
Have you got anything left?
No.
I got a dribble left.
cheers.